Did you know that while millions of people around the world are waiting in long lines for their Chinese visa interviews somewhere else, there are citizens who can set foot in New York and San Francisco without any visas in just a few minutes in front of a computer screen? In this journey, we will explore 20 countries that can enter China without a visa. Is your country on this list? Find out now. Imagine you can just pack your backpack, scan your passport, fill out an ESTA form in a few minutes, and you can set foot in China without any visa interviews. For Japanese citizens, that is not a dream. It has been a reality since 1988. In a world where millions of people have to wait weeks, even months just to be approved to set foot in the land of the stars and stripes, Japanese people can walk straight through the immigration gate with just a barcode on their phone. This is not only a testament to the strength of the Japanese passport, one of the most powerful in the world, but also a reflection of the enduring, trusting relationship between two countries that were once wartime enemies. Today, millions of Japanese travel to China every year to study, to work, to visit relatives, or simply to experience the Chinese dream. What about you? While you are worrying about your visa application, on the other side of the world, a Japanese person is leisurely booking a flight to Los Angeles, and that is a privilege that only trustworthy countries can possess. If Japan represents Asian sophistication and discipline, Germany is a symbol of European standards, prestige, and strength. And like the Japanese, German citizens are also enjoying a rare privilege to set foot in China without a visa. Since 1989, just a few months after the fall of the Berlin Wall, reunified Germany has quickly become one of China's most trusted partners. Did you know? Germans don't have to jostle at the embassy, don't have to tremble before interview questions, just a passport and a few clicks to complete an ESTA, and can go straight to New York, Chicago, or San Francisco. Over the past 3 decades, millions of Germans have come to China to study, work, and travel, as if there were no barriers. This not only reflects Germany's global status, but also shows China's absolute trust in a country with a strong domestic security system and an almost absolute immigration compliance rate. Amidst the countless applications being rejected every day, Germans still gently pass through. And that is a privilege that cannot be bought with money. In contrast to the sternness of Germany or the meticulousness of Japan, France enters this list with a very unique style. Elegant, graceful, and proud. Since 1989, French citizens have been allowed to enter the US without a visa, with just a valid passport and a simple ESTA application. While many countries are still struggling with high rejection rates, the French breeze through all the procedures as if borders were something for others. More than 1.8 million French people visit China every year, not because they need to escape or seek opportunity, but because they want to explore, connect, invest, and learn. For them, this dream is not a distant destination, but an option within reach. Strangely enough, a country that once gave China the Statue of Liberty, a symbol of hope and freedom, is now welcomed with openness and trust. And that proves one thing. International trust does not come from chance, but from history, from companionship, and from values shared in silence for decades. In addition, when mentioning countries that the US trusts absolutely, we cannot fail to mention Australia, the land of kangaroos, which is famous for its wild beauty, but has the most stable and close diplomatic relationship with the United States. Since 1996, Australians have enjoyed visa-free privileges when entering the US, just need to complete the ESTA procedure in a few minutes. They do not have to wait in long lines outside the consulate, do not have to carry piles of supporting documents, just need a passport and a trust that has been proven for nearly 3 decades. It is admirable, because every year, more than 1 million Australians set foot in the US without encountering any barriers. And especially, they strictly comply with immigration regulations. It is this discipline that has helped them maintain a solid position on the visa waiver list. For Australians, a trip to the US is not just a holiday, but also an affirmation of a strong bilateral friendship, a quiet but profound recognition from the US. And that is how trust is built, by actions, not just words. Moreover, an inspiring example of a strong rise is South Korea, a country that has gone from the ashes of war to the status of a technological powerhouse in just a few decades. Not only famous for K-pop, television dramas, or super-fast 5G networks, South Korea also impresses with an admirable achievement, joining the visa waiver program in 2008. Since then, South Korean citizens can easily enter the US without a visa, with just an ESTA application and a valid passport. This is not a matter of luck. It is the result of years of building trust, improving security, sharing intelligence, and adhering to international standards. In 2024 alone, more than 2.2 million South Koreans came to the United States. Students, business people, tourists, and those with aspirations of integration. They passed through the gates not because of favors, but because of their hard work and determination. And it reminds us that no privilege is an accident. It is built on a foundation of trust and persistence over time. Not stopping there, a small country that has always created great milestones on the world's geopolitical map, Israel, has officially entered the visa waiver list in 2023. After many years of waiting and tireless efforts, with its complicated history and sensitive location in the Middle East, the possibility of Israelis entering the US without a visa once seemed far-fetched. However, they have proven the opposite. Through a series of reforms in domestic security, information sharing, and building a modern immigration management system, Israel has made the United States not only recognize but also trust. Now, with just a passport and an ESTA registration, Israeli citizens can easily come to the US to reunite with their families, pursue educational opportunities, expand their business, or simply explore another culture. More than 800,000 people have done it in 2024 alone. And behind that number is a long journey full of determination. Therefore, the presence of Israel is not just news, but living proof that, where there is perseverance and real commitment, there will be doors opened. On the other hand, among the vast and powerful countries, the presence of a small island nation like Singapore on the visa waiver list is a wonderful testament to the value of discipline, intelligence, and foresight. Since 1999, Singapore citizens have been allowed to enter the US without a visa, just a valid passport and a few minutes to fill out information on the ESTA system. It sounds simple, but behind that convenience is a solid foundation of citizen management, data security, and compliance with international law. Despite being only half the size of Los Angeles, Singapore has one of the most powerful passports in the world, not by luck, but by a system that operates almost flawlessly. In 2024, more than 750,000 Singaporeans traveled to the US, passing through checkpoints as if it were a given. But in fact, it was the result of decades of steady trust building. In a turbulent world, Singapore shows us that you don't have to be big to make an impact. Just be accurate, honest, and always one step ahead. Meanwhile, a country with a long and deep historical relationship with the US, the UK, remains an irreplaceable place on the list of countries with visa-free access to the US. As a strategic ally, military and cultural partner, the UK has long been seen as America's most trusted companion. British citizens can enter the US for 90 days with just an ESTA application. No need to go to the consulate, no need for thick documents, just a passport that is a global symbol. In 2024, more than 4.8 million Britons visited the US, making the UK one of the largest sources of international visitors to the US. But what is less well known is that not all British passport holders are eligible. Only those with full residency rights in the UK enjoy this privilege. That shows that even with the closest relationships, the US still puts security and management first. And for the UK, visa-free privilege is not only a result of history, but also an affirmation that trust must be maintained by systems, laws, and mutual respect. Have you ever wondered why Japanese or British people can enter the US as easily as domestic tourists, while other countries have to queue up to apply for a visa? If you want to discover the secrets behind the most powerful passports in the world, subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss out on the amazing facts. But it's not just traditional powers that have been granted special privileges by the United States. Qatar, a tiny country in the middle of the Middle Eastern desert, surprised the world when it officially joined the visa waiver program in 2023. Just a few years ago, Qatari citizens had to wait weeks for their visas to be processed, but now they only need an ESTA application to enter the United States. It's not the result of oil or financial power, but the result of a quiet but decisive diplomatic strategy, upgrading security systems, improving biometric technology, and working closely with international intelligence agencies. In 2024, more than 200,000 Qataris traveled to the United States, from business people to students to families traveling on vacation, and all passed through the port of entry with ease, without the need for a traditional visa. This proves that no matter how big or small a country is, as long as it shows seriousness, transparency, and responsibility, the door to the United States is always ready to open. For Qatar, it is not just a step forward in tourism, but a step to affirm its position on the global map. Moreover, Romania's story is a living testament to the journey to turn dreams into reality through perseverance and extensive reform. Once one of the European countries with the highest U.S. visa rejection rate, Romanians were used to long lines, preparing tons of documents, and anxiously waiting for results from the consulate. However, everything changed dramatically at the end of 2023 when Romania officially joined the visa waiver program. To achieve that, this country did the seemingly impossible, reducing the visa rejection rate to below 3%, implementing biometric passports, upgrading airport security systems, and strengthening intelligence cooperation with the United States. As a result, more than 350,000 Romanians entered the United States in 2024 alone. No visas, no interviews, no red tape. They came to study, work, explore, and connect. And above all, they entered a new era, where a Romanian passport is no longer a restriction, but a ticket to global trust. For Romania, it was not just a policy change. It was an affirmation. They are ready to stand on par with the world's most trusted countries. Not only did Romania mark a turning point for Eastern Europe, but Italy, the cradle of Renaissance culture and classical art, has long held a firm place on the list of countries that America trusts with absolute confidence. Since 1989, Italians have been able to set foot in the United States without a visa, with just a valid passport and a simple ESTA application. But behind the ease lies a long history of ties between the two countries. From strong diplomatic ties to large Italian-American communities from New York to Chicago. Every year, hundreds of thousands of Italians come to the United States to study, work, or simply enjoy the hustle and bustle of Manhattan or the sunshine of the West Coast. What's special is that Italians are not just tourists. They are cultural bridges, ambassadors of European art, cuisine, and elegance. The visa waiver is not simply an administrative procedure, but a silent acknowledgement. America is always willing to welcome those who know how to preserve prestige, tradition, and respect the law. And Italy, with all its depth, always does it with admirable naturalness. It is impossible not to mention Spain, the land of sunny squares, fiery flamenco dances, and a rich culture that has spread throughout the world. Since 1991, Spain has been officially granted visa-free status by the United States, a weighty recognition for a country that has continuously strengthened trust and transparency in immigration management. For Spanish citizens, entering the U.S. is now as easy as a walk, only needing a passport and a few minutes to fill out ESTA information. This is not only convenient, but also a deep pride, because to have that position, Spain has proven itself to be a reliable partner, from security policy to absolute compliance with international regulations. Every year, hundreds of thousands of Spaniards come to the United States, not just to visit or relax, but also to connect, learn, and continue writing new chapters in the transatlantic relationship. And behind each of those flights is a silent affirmation. Once you build trust, the world will open its doors to you. No barriers, no limits. Not only that, New Zealand, the peaceful island nation in the South Pacific, is also a great example of prestige without ostentation. Since 1991, New Zealand citizens have been allowed to enter the United States without a visa, just a valid passport and a quick ESTA application. For Kiwis, this is not only convenient for travel, but also a symbol of a sustainable relationship, based on respect and close cooperation between the two countries. New Zealand is small in population, but big in reputation. From its transparent legal system to its admirable sense of community. That's why its citizens' immigration violation rate is almost zero, reinforcing its strong trust in the eyes of the United States. Anyone who has ever met a New Zealander feels their humility, sincerity, and openness, which is also the reason why they easily cross boundaries that other nationalities have difficulty with. And that is a simple but profound message. There is no need to be noisy to be accepted. Just always act responsibly and maintain the honor of your country, and all doors will be open. In addition, Portugal, a country on the Atlantic that has made great voyages, now continues its journey to conquer the world in a different way, through trust and global integration. Since 1999, Portuguese citizens have officially been exempted from visas to the United States through the Visa Waiver Program. That means Portuguese can travel to the United States for up to 90 days with just a valid passport and a simple ESTA application. But behind that ease lies an efficient bureaucracy, a transparent security system, and a Portuguese community in the United States that has built a reputation over generations. From students to business people to reunited families, they cross the US border, not just with their luggage, but with a sense of trust built on history, responsibility, and mutual respect. In a world where visas remain a barrier for billions of people, the Portuguese privilege is not only enviable, it is the result of a nation that holds its own in turbulent times. And that is how Portugal continues to make its mark on the global map. Quietly, persistently, and with courage. Angkor Wat, the most brilliant gem in the Angkor complex, is not only the pride of Cambodia, but also an eternal symbol of human wisdom and belief. Built in the 12th century to worship Vishnu, then gradually becoming a Buddhist sanctuary, Angkor Wat is like a great symphony, combining architecture, art, and spirituality. Spanning over 400 acres, the temple contains more than 3,000 exquisite reliefs, depicting legendary stories and history of a prosperous period. Few people know that Angkor Wat's architecture was inspired by the Hindu cosmological model, with the central tower symbolizing Mount Meru, where the gods reside. Standing before the grandeur and tranquility of Angkor Wat, people cannot help but be moved. Here, each stone slab seems to whisper about the past, and each ray of early sunlight shining through the ancient corridor seems to awaken souls that have been sleeping for centuries. If Angkor Wat is the pinnacle of Khmer art and belief, then Koker, deep in the Preah Vihear forest, brings a feeling of wildness and mystery, as if you have just discovered a buried secret. About 120 kilometers from Siem Reap, Koker was once the capital of the Khmer Empire for nearly 40 years in the 10th century, a glorious but little-known period in history. The most prominent here is the Prasat Tom Temple, with a soaring pyramid shape in the middle of the wild nature, reminiscent of the temples of the distant Mayans. Amidst the moss-covered ruins and the quiet sound of the old forest, Koker not only takes visitors back to an ancient era, but also evokes an indescribable sense of sacredness, as if this place is still protected by ancient spirits. It is this solitude and silence that makes Koker an enchanting destination, reminding that history is not only told through feats, but also through forgotten works. Leaving the solitude of Koker, the journey takes us back to the heart of Angkor Thom, where Bayon Temple appears like a mythical maze carved in stone. Different from the solemn majesty of Angkor Wat or the solitude of Koh-Ker, Bayon has its own charm. 54 stone towers with more than 200 giant, gentle and mysterious faces, as if watching every step of the traveler. Built in the late 12th century under King Jayavarman VII, the temple is a blend of Buddhism and royal power, where beliefs are not separate from politics, but go hand in hand like two halves of the same world. The stone smiles at Bayon are not noisy, but are strong enough to penetrate time, making us wonder, are they portraits of gods, kings, or the soul of a vanished civilization? In the dim light of the surrounding jungle, Bayon is more than just an architectural work. It is a profound spiritual experience, where the past still whispers alive. After the layers of historical memories on top of Phnom Samphav, the journey takes us to the south of Cambodia, where Koh Tonsay, also known as Rabbit Island, quietly lies between the sea and sky of Kep Province like an unpolished rough gem. In contrast to the solemnity and melancholy of the Temple Mountain, Koh Tonsay welcomes us with fine white sand beaches, clear water, and the simple life of the fishing village people. The small island is only over 3 miles wide, but contains a peaceful world, where time seems to slow down, and nature still retains its inherent wildness. In the sea breeze blowing through the rustling coconut trees, we can feel the soul of the island, rustic, pure, and close. Koh Tonsay used to be a French naval base, and to this day, small, quiet historical vestiges remain in the midst of nature. It is this modesty that creates a special attraction, not by its splendor, but by its pure beauty, and the feeling of returning to a familiar place that we have never been to. Leaving behind the wild and peaceful beauty of Koh Tonsay, the journey back to the capital Phnom Penh leads us to the Royal Palace of Cambodia, a splendid symbol of royal power and Khmer cultural beauty. Located on the poetic Tonle Sap River, the architectural complex built in 1866 is not only the official residence of the king, but also a place to preserve the national spirit through each golden tile roof and sophisticated carvings. Entering the campus of more than 115 acres, visitors feel like they are lost in a fairy tale world, where the past and present intersect in each fold of time. The most prominent is the Diamond Throne, studded with more than 4,500 precious diamonds, which not only shows wealth, but also symbolizes the undying belief in royalty and tradition. Amidst the quiet space covered with green trees and the sound of wind chimes ringing from the stupas, the royal palace not only makes us admire its magnificence, but also evokes deep respect for a steadfast culture amidst the vicissitudes of history. From the splendor of the Phnom Penh Royal Palace, we slowly walk towards another sacred place, Wat Phnom, an ancient temple located on the only hill in the heart of the capital. About 27 meters high, this small hill is not only a geographical highlight of the city, but also a spiritual cradle, where the legend of Phnom Penh's birth began. Under the canopy of green ancient trees, each step leading up to the temple seems to lead the way back to the deep roots. Inside the moss-covered main hall are vivid murals telling stories of Buddha and ancient Khmer legends. Wat Plame is not as ornate as the royal palace, nor as majestic as Angkor, but it makes our hearts quiet because of its simplicity, sacredness, and the feeling of touching the origin of a nation. Saying goodbye to the sacred and quiet atmosphere of Wat Phnom, the journey continues down to the sea, where the city of Sihanoukville opens up with golden sunlight and a deep blue horizon. Located in Preah Sihanouk province, this is one of the fastest-growing coastal cities in Cambodia, carrying a modern breath but still preserving the charm of a land attached to the sea. Named after King Norodom Sihanouk, the founder of Cambodian tourism, the city is not only a commercial center, but also a dream destination for millions of tourists. With more than 18 beaches stretching over 18 miles, coconut trees swaying in the wind and whispering waves, Sihanoukville makes people easily forget all the hustle and bustle of everyday life. But the beauty here is not only in the sea, but also hidden deep in the surrounding tropical forests, where rare birds still call in peace. Sihanoukville is a place where modern life and natural identity meet, a land that is both youthful and full of depth. From the youthful vibrancy of Sihanoukville, we turn southeast to Kep, a peaceful gem nestled on the coast of the Gulf of Thailand. In contrast to the hasty development of tourist cities, Kep has a quiet, nostalgic charm, as if time here passes more slowly to preserve its pristine and pure beauty. In the 1960s, Kep was once a luxurious resort paradise for the upper class, where artists and intellectuals from Indochina came to escape the noise. Today, that trace is still present in the old French villas covered in moss and the coastal road winding in the sound of waves. But what makes Kep special is the famous blue crab dish, the quintessence of the sea and the hands of the fishermen. The rich flavor of Kep crab seems to contain both the sunshine and the love of the coastal people. Not too ostentatious, Kep conquers people with its rustic beauty and familiar feeling, like a gentle whisper in the heart of Cambodia. Leaving the warm and brilliant sea of Raja Ampat, we return to the land of ice and fire Iceland, where Fjalabak, a wild plateau deep inland, appears like a surreal painting drawn by nature itself. No tropical beaches, no vibrant coral, Fjalabak welcomes us with rhyolite mountains glowing in red, orange, yellow, green, and purple, colors that seem to only exist in abstract paintings. On trails through rugged terrain and melting glaciers, one can encounter steaming hot springs in the mist, black lava fields, or calm turquoise lakes in the arid land. Fialabak is not a place of easy beauty. It is fierce, isolated, eerie, but also extremely attractive. For those who love pure nature and are ready to face the primitive wilderness, Fialabak is a place where the earth is at its most naked and honest, where every step is a dialogue with time and fire and stone. From the fairy tale mountains of Fialabak, we return to Asia, crossing the Himalayas to reach the Spiti Valley, a barren and majestic plateau in the heart of Himachal Pradesh, India. Spiti, in Tibetan, means land between two rivers, and as the name suggests, this place lies quietly between snow-capped mountains and cold glaciers flowing through deep ravines. The beauty of Spiti is not noisy, not colorful. It is quiet, sacred, like a giant monastery carved from stone and wind. Small villages are scattered among the mountain slopes. Ancient monasteries such as Ki, Dankar are precariously perched on cliffs, and lamas slowly walk through the temple gates to the sound of wind chimes. On the winding roads in the rocky desert, we encounter a pristine beauty, where time seems to stop. Spiti is not only a tourist destination, but also an inner journey, where people learn to slow down, listen to the breath of the mountains and forests and the serenity within themselves. From the mysterious silence of Spiti Valley, we turn south to Nusa Penida, a pristine island off the coast of Bali, where nature draws strong, fierce, yet enchanting lines. Different from the bustling atmosphere of famous Bali, Nusa Penida is a world of steep cliffs plunging straight into the deep blue sea, of hidden beaches like Kelingking, where the dinosaur-shaped cliffs jut out into the ocean, making everyone speechless when they first see it from above. But Nusa Penida is not only beautiful from afar. Diving down into the crystal-clear water is a brilliant coral paradise, where visitors can swim with giant manta rays in awe and excitement. On land, the island also hides sacred temples, winding roads, and gentle people who always smile. Nusa Penida is a place where nature remains pristine, wild, fierce, but also breathtakingly beautiful. A destination that makes us feel like we have just touched a secret of the ocean. From the steep cliffs and deep blue sea of Nusa Penida, the journey takes us to a completely different land, Laguna Colorada in Bolivia, a surreal wonder in the heart of the harsh Altiplano Plateau. From afar, the lake appears like a bright red streak in the middle of the cold desert, making people wonder, is this a real lake or a dream appearing in real life? The characteristic red color of the water comes from bacteria and minerals dissolved in harsh conditions, a testament to the resilience and incredible adaptation of life. Clumps of pure white salt rise from the lake like ice islands, while hundreds of Andean flamingos walk gracefully, creating an elegant pink dance in the surreal landscape. There are no trees, no shade, just wind, sun, and the burning red of the sky and earth. Laguna Colorada is not a place to relax. It is a place to marvel, to reflect, and to realize that even in the harshest places, beauty can emerge in a majestic and emotional way. From the red highlands of Laguna Colorada, we return to the gentle blue of the Pacific, where the Kalalau Valley, a hidden gem on the island of Kauai, Hawaii, quietly welcomes dreamers. Deep in the steep Na Pali Mountains, Kalalau is not easily accessible. It can only be reached by crossing the treacherous Kalalau Trail, more than 17 kilometers long, on foot, by boat, or by helicopter. An arduous journey, but the reward is completely worth it. The valley opens up like a fairy tale world. Lush green vegetation, waterfalls pouring over steep cliffs, and the pristine Kalalau beach with only the whisper of waves and wind. There are no restaurants, no hotels, just pure nature and absolute silence. Standing in the middle of Kalalau, we feel something beyond beauty, a deep connection with the land, the water, and ourselves. Kalalau is not only a destination for adventurers, but also a place where the soul finds a rare peace in the hustle and bustle of the modern world. From the quiet Kalalau Valley in the middle of the ocean, we continue to fly to the sunny Caribbean, where Isla Holbox, a small island off the coast of the Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico, appears like a dream full of color and light. No cars, no dust. Holbox is a paradise of simplicity and relaxation, where white sand roads quietly lead to the clear blue sea, and time seems to slow down with each wave hitting the shore. This place is not only famous for its pristine beaches, but also for a magical phenomenon: bioluminescence. At night, the seawater shimmers like millions of stars shattered under people's feet, making us surprised and moved. Holbox is also home to flamingos, dolphins, and especially whale sharks, gentle giants that visitors can swim with during the migration season. Isla Holbox is not a place of luxury resorts, but a place of emotions, where every sea breeze, every sunset reminds us of simple peace and untouched beauty. Leaving the magical glowing waters of Isla Holbox, we cross the ocean and the majestic mountains to reach Svaneti, an ancient and majestic land deep in the Caucasus Mountains of Georgia. Like a forgotten epic, Svaneti appears with soaring snow-capped peaks, narrow valleys covered with pine forests, and especially the towering medieval stone towers, symbols of pride and independence that have existed for centuries. Along the bumpy cobblestone roads, We enter villages like Mestia or Ushguli, where time seems to stand still. The sound of church bells, the sound of locals chatting in ancient Svan, and the smell of kitchen smoke mixed with the mountain mist create a feeling that is both strangely foreign and strangely familiar. Svaneti is not pretentious. It is a land for those who appreciate the depth of culture, the harshness of nature, and the unadorned beauty. There, amid the clouds and heritage, travelers find something precious, a silence full of identity in a world that is changing too quickly. After journeys back in time through Bayonne and Ko Rong emerges as a gentle silence of nature, where the waves and the jungle harmonize in a wild love song. Located off the coast of Sihanoukville province, this island stretches nearly 30 kilometers with fine white sand. The seawater is so clear that you can see schools of small fish swimming by your feet. But Ko Rong is not only beautiful for its scenery, but also for its soul. This is where Khmer people have lived for centuries, preserving ancient legends and customs that have never been forgotten. At night, when the sun sets behind the coconut trees, the phenomenon of bioluminescence makes the sea glow like a galaxy. A magical moment that leaves anyone who witnesses it speechless. Ko Rong is not noisy, not crowded, but pure and profound. In the sound of the sea breeze and the scent of the tropical forest, this place whispers an invitation. Let's temporarily forget the world and listen to the pristine breath of nature. Leaving behind the clear blue waves and the ephemeral light of Ko Rong, the journey continues to take us to the sacred land, where traces of the past still silently exist on the top of Udong Mountain. Once the capital of Cambodia for nearly 2 centuries, from 1618 to 1866, Udong was not only the political center, but also the spiritual heart of the whole nation. Today, this place is a collection of more than 40 ancient temples scattered along the mountainside, hidden in the early morning clouds and incense smoke. Standing from the top of Udong, looking out at the green fields and the peaceful river in the distance, people cannot help but feel small before the pure and profound beauty of this land. Udong is not as bustling as Phnom Penh, nor as splendid as Angkor, but this place holds precious things. From the sacred silence of Udong Mountain, the traveler's footsteps continue to Phnom Sampov, a majestic limestone mountain located in Battambang province, where natural beauty and historical memories intersect in an emotional scene. From afar, Phnom Sampov appears majestically in the middle of the peaceful plain, like a silent witness to the stories that once shook the whole country. This place is famous for its cave system that was once a painful execution site during the Khmer Rouge period. and also where millions of bats flock out every sunset, creating a spectacular scene like a vivid cloud strip stretching for kilometers against the fiery red sky. Reaching the top of the mountain, the golden pagodas reflect on the steep cliffs, as if soothing the wounds of the past with the light of hope and faith. Phnom Samphof is not only a place to admire the landscape, but also a place to calm down, to remember, to understand, and to feel the endurance of the Cambodian soul through the ups and downs of history. Leaving the gentle tranquility of Kep, the journey takes us back to the center of water life, where the floating villages on Tonle Sap Lake near Siem Reap appear as a completely different world. This is the largest freshwater lake in Southeast Asia. But what makes this place special is not only its enormous size, but also the Khmer communities that have lived on the water for hundreds of years. Wooden houses built on rafts, schools, churches, floating markets, all flow to the rhythm of the water, as if time must also learn to adapt. In the rainy season, the lake expands to more than 6,000 square kilometers, turning everything into a vast river area where boats are the only means of connection. The people here live on fish, an animal that makes up 70% of their daily diet, and celebrate colorful water festivals as a way to honor nature. Standing in the middle of that space, listening to the gentle sound of oars on the water, we feel a life that is both fragile and durable, where people not only exist, but also blend into the pulse of nature. From the peaceful floating of Tonle Sap Water Village, we continue to Battambang, a land that preserves the secrets of majestic nature, where Phnom Samphof Bat Cave becomes one of the most impressive scenes in Cambodia. Every sunset, millions of bats leave the cave like a black stream rolling up into the red sky, creating a surreal scene that leaves viewers speechless in awe. The bat strip stretches for more than a mile, moving constantly like a vibrant silk strip across the horizon. But behind the magic lies a balanced ecosystem. Bats play an important role in controlling insects and maintaining crops for local people. Many families living around this area also use bat guano as fertilizer, creating a strong connection between nature and human life. Battambang is not just a place to admire, but a place to feel, a place where the breath of millions of unknown creatures still echoes in the legendary sunset space. From the rolling bat sky in Battambang, the journey takes us along the southern coast of Cambodia, where Kampot, a dreamy riverside city, appears like a love song of nature, history, and flavor. Kampot is not noisy, not brilliant, but easily captures the hearts of visitors with its ancient and slow appearance, like the streams of water flowing around the city. This place is famous for Kampot black pepper, a quintessential spice considered the black gold of the country, present in prestigious kitchens around the world. walking through the rows of French-style houses that have faded over time, listening to the distant sound of temple bells. We seem to be lost in another Cambodia, gentle and thoughtful. Not only a destination for the taste buds, Kampot also fascinates visitors with its caves hidden in the mountains. Immense salt fields and the sunset sky reflecting on the surface of the Tuk Cho River. Kampot is a place to slow down, to see the beauty and simplicity, where the past, nature, and people tell stories together with a quiet, moving vibe.